LEGO Brits here, and today I have quite an interesting video where I'll be taking a look at the evolution of the Mandalorian Battle Pack. Now, as with my previous evolution of the Bark Speeder video, I'm not going to do a straight-up comparison between these two sets I have here, because I don't think that's very original at all. What I would like to do is to evaluate how these sets have evolved over time. So how this 2011 model here, which was the original Mandalorian Battle Pack, has evolved into becoming the 2020 model we have here. There's some very similar builds and figures here. I think it's going to be very, very interesting to see which one's my personal favourite and how this set right here evolved into this one right here. Just before we head off into the evolution of style part of the video, I just want to go over some basic set information for the two sets I have in front of me. So this set I have right here is from 2011 and it is the original Mandalorian Battle Pack with the set number of 7914, 68 pieces, 4 Mandalorian minifigures and retailing for £10 or $12. And this set that I have just here to my right is set 75267, the Mandalorian Battle Pack from 2020. It has 102 pieces and there's quite a big piece difference. We're going to get onto that later in the evolution part of the video, and it retailed for £13 or $15, so quite a big price difference as well. First of all, I think there's a couple of things that you should note about these two sets before going into the bit where we're going to discuss how it has evolved through time. So this one here is actually based off Star Wars The Clone Wars and has the Clone Wars Mandalorian design and that bluish greyish colour scheme here, and over here is based from the Mandalorian TV series. So this one did take heavy inspiration from this one, but they are both based off different periods of Star Wars media. Also, these two sets here might look very similar at a first glance, however the price is increased and there is a significantly larger piece count here, nearly 40 extra pieces added, which is really interesting because I didn't even notice that until I read out the piece counts just then. So they have expanded on certain things. I'm going to take a closer look at that later on in the video, but the price here is larger due to the battle pack prices getting higher, and the piece count here is also larger compared to the 2011 model. All the mini builds have been placed behind, and first up I want to take a look at how the minifigures have changed, and I think it's fair to say that there has been some significant changes from the 2011 model right here to the 2020 model on the right. First up, now this is less about the minifigures as a whole, but more about their weapons. Now you can see that there has been a huge change in the weapons, and that is because the 2011 Battle Pack is from the golden age, in my opinion, of Battle Pack weapons, where they'd all get different weapons which were actually pretty accurate to the Star Wars ones. You can see this guy here has dual blasters, he has some customizing weapons there, he has a sniper, and he has a main blaster, so loads and loads of variation there. But these guys have stub shooters, which compared to these, they just look really, really bad. I think I definitely prefer those. Those are much better than the stud shooters, so that's evolved in a bad way there to start it off, which is really, really interesting. Another clear observation about these two battle packs now that you have them together is that these 4 minifigures are exactly the same, and I'm going to show you a close-up of the minifigures to show how they've changed, but just a quick observation, all these 4 are the same, which is amazing for army building, and these are different, so you could think that that's a bad thing or a good thing. Personally, I really like the different designs here, but obviously you could take it as a bad thing, as it's obviously worse for army building than this one. But all the minifigures were the same here, but they were different in the 2020 model. Having the 2020 minifigure and the 2011 minifigure does show quite a few changes. Now obviously there were different designs in the back there. You can see that we do have a couple of different colour variations, so the green one just there and the other colour variations, but I'm going to be taking a look at these two to compare right at the front here. You can really see how they've changed the quality of the print. You can really see that there's so many more details on this helmet here rather than the basic print. I personally really, really like this 2011 print here, but it can't be taken away from this one here that it is such more detailed prints, not just on the helmet there, but you can see we have on the torso. One thing that's noticeable is that when you actually take the helmet off this guy, he does have a face. However, on the 2020 model, there is no face. It's just a plain black head. So that's quite interesting to see that LEGO did step away from that in a bad way. But to be honest, the print here is so much more advanced. The torso, legs, it's definitely amazing. Now, turning to the back, you can see that we have a cape and a jetpack. Now, there's a really neat feature on these speeders which shows how they can fit both types of minifigures in these separate sets that they came in. But personally, I like the jetpack better, but you can obviously choose. They're both really, really nice accessories, but that's definitely how that's evolved. Probably better to become this one, but obviously the stud shooter is a major thing against this one, and obviously having no head goes against it, but the print is much better for the 2021 than it was in 2011. Now that I have taken a really detailed look at how these minifigures have evolved, and personally I think they're both amazing minifigure selections, but now it is time to take a look at the turrets here at the front, and you can see we both have turret spaces for different Mandalorians, but very different designs for the two, but this one has clearly taken inspiration from the original original one, so let's take a look at how it's evolved. Both of these turrets have the ability for you to put one Mandalorian from the set in there, and he can man a turret, so you can see you can just stand those guys up behind, and you can turn those around. Now, the interesting thing here is, if you actually take the stud shooter out, there is nothing there. However, then you can put your stud shooter in, so there is no ready-made cannon. However, here, there is a ready-made cannon which you can turn around, so I really do like it. It's a lot more accurate to how you see it in the Clone Wars. However, this is obviously just a stud shooter which you can put in there, so it's evolved better for play features having a stud shooter there, but worse for looks, because I really do like this ready-made stud shooter design from 2011. So I've just removed the minifigures from here for a second, and we can turn these around to take a closer look at the turret bases, and to be honest, I think this design is so much better. There's so much more detail. It does use quite a bit of more pieces here. You can definitely see where the piece count is coming from, lots of these cheese slope pieces. The colour scheme does look really nice. It reflects the Navarro rocks from Chapter 3 of The Mandalorian that it was trying to represent really well. He is a very basic and simplistic design. Obviously, the blue and grey colour scheme is a plus to this one, but this definitely evolved for the better. Even if the stud shooter isn't the best, this rocky ledge definitely developed into this a lot better. The final part of this battle pack that I'm going to be taking a look at and showing how it evolved is these speeders. And these speeders, you can definitely see there is a huge difference, so that's what we're going to take a look at right now. First of all, a very clear way that demonstrates really how it has evolved is when you try and put an incorrect minifigure, so you can see I have the Mandalorian one from the older battle pack into the newer one. You can see, yes, he will sat down, but he's not going to lean back like he's supposed to, and consequently this isn't actually going to push in. So I suppose it could work, but it doesn't look very clean at all. So when you take that out, he just goes like so, and you can put the newer Mandalorian on, and the cape will fly behind him, and it looks so much better, and obviously he can lean back however he wants, and is not really restrictive. Now when you put this one in, he sits up fine and can lean back. Why is that? Because it's a single slope rather than a double one. Now the double slope here would prevent a jetpack, so it just shows how LEGO's really taken into account the fact that because they changed out the minifigure capes, this can actually fly behind it on the double, but this can go over the single. So that's quite interesting to take a look at there. The overall design of these speeders have definitely changed for the better. You can see when you go underneath here, there's just this translucent circular piece which holds it up, and it looks very jagged. There's no sort of slope here at all, so it's also quite wonky. It will easily fall over. He is a lot more solid and a lot more smooth, and there's actually an engine there, and there's completely absent of any booster coming out of the back of this one, so it's definitely evolved. And like with the turret, this is where the increased piece count has gone. It looks so much better, very slick, and definitely evolved for the better from 2011 to 2020 for the back of the speeder. Taking a look at the front of the speeder, there are some definite differences, but there are some similarities here as well. So number one, for the similarities, you can see that this slope piece is exactly the same. Now they've obviously swapped out the colour and things, but it does look really good, and it looked great for this one. It worked so well that they decided to carry it on into the 2021 rather than evolving it into something else, so that looks really good. There's a cheese slope here which does stick out a bit more than this other one, which looks a lot more smooth, but obviously the design has been so much more advanced by the increased piece count. You can even see how many more pieces have been used here. It looks very primitive compared to this one. This one looks a lot more smooth, especially how they've used this translucent piece here rather than this piece here that just goes inside this. This has stayed the same, however they have added stud shooters, which, like the stud shooters or not, they are a great play feature, and it looks a lot better with those stud shooters on the side rather than this very primitive design where you can actually see the different slopes that they used inside the design of the speeder. Overall, I think that despite a couple of things which have meant it evolved for the worst, I think that it evolved eventually for the better. Now obviously there were some things like the stud shooters which have made it worse, and certain other things like not having a turret here, but personally I do really like how they've evolved it. I think they've kept the best from this battle pack and changed it. Obviously you might not like the variation of the Mandalorians. Personally I like that, and I think it's still really good for army building. I love this Clone Wars set, and I love this Mandalorian one as well. This one is definitely worth the £13, and you should definitely get that while that's out, but I really do love this set as well. They definitely took the best from this set here and put it into this set here, and overall it evolved for the better. Thank you very much for watching this evolution of video. I thought it'd be a really interesting one to do, seeing how this 2011 Clone Wars set evolved into the Mandalorian set that we have on shelves today. Let me know what you think of these sets in the comments below. Leave a like if you enjoyed the video, and feel free to subscribe if you haven't already. Have a great day. Goodbye.